Okay, so on to Street Talk then. And this is a week of two halves, wasn't it? Well, not halves. There was 3 episodes, but
What?
There
were 3 episodes.
What I'm saying is, it started off really, really great on Monday, and then it declined during the week. I actually quite enjoyed Wednesday's episode as well. Roomful of Puppies, brilliant. But my gosh, the chasm between Monday and Friday's episode, Friday's was just spectacularly dull, I found.
Can we just do a quick
Are we on our own with this?
and contrast here between Monday and Friday, where Monday's episode was all about the fact that Paul is staring death in the face and he wants a way out, and he's asking Billy to was it Tuesday?
Help him along his way.
Help him.
Oh yeah, it was Tuesday, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I forgot. We had to wait until Tuesday to see if it was worth the wait.
So he's asking him, please, can you help me end my life, even though it's against all your moral code, blah, blah, blah.
The Bible swearing scene.
So emotional, so deep and raw and moving. The Friday's episode, Aadi nearly dies out of nowhere, and by the end of the episode, half the people probably forgot that was happening.
I know, but if I was Paul, I'd be wanting to move into that flat. I think I've found an easy way out there. You can you give your drugs back? Does he get his money back for them? It's like, don't worry, Dean, I found another way. Just move into
Dean, yeah.
Yeah, Dean the dealer.
Don't worry about it. Right, okay. You see, can you see, though, what I'm saying here? They were both about death. They were both about mortal peril. And one of them was just magnificent, and the other one was so pointless.
It kind of felt like they were feeling that Fridays was a bit dull, so we said, what should we do to spice it up a bit? Should we try and kill off one of the characters?
Nothing good happened in this episode. What should we do?
It just really didn't.
But no, this wasn't out of nowhere, though, because this was set up months ago when the detector that got thrown, didn't it? And so that's why it wasn't going off properly.
Oh, did it? What? Oh, no.
Corrie and Aadi had a fight.
I'd forgotten about that. Crikey, they expect us to remember that.
Well, I mean, some people did remember that, but...
Oh, good for them. You got better memories than me.
So it's not like they just went, oh, no.
Was it worth the wait? Everybody who'd been thinking, what about the carbon monoxide detector? What's it gonna pay off there?
My favourite line of the whole week was that doctor in the emergency room saying carbon monoxide is odourless. It's called the silent killer.
I know.
What do you mean? Why are those related? Those are 2 different things.
It should be the odourless killer, shouldn't it? Or the smellless killer.
I mean...
What's the stinky killer? That's what I want to know.
Who calls it the silent killer? Like, who says this? Is that like whoever signs the death certificate in hospital? Like, I'm a carbon monoxide. The silent killer. What do you mean?
What do you mean?
It
was written.
They call it the silent killer. Sorry, this isn't useful information for A&E doctors to be telling people in the waiting room. Do you think the doctor was like, yeah, they call it the silent killer? Oh, by the way, yeah, Mrs. Smith, yeah, that's what happened to your husband.
If you hear any really noisy gas in your apartment, don't worry, it's not carbon monoxide. Someone's just had a bit of beans for dinner, you know. It felt so much like PSA, didn't it? It was. He might as well have just been staring down the camera and say, "Check your detector." Oh, you haven't got a carbon monoxide detector.
Should do. It's the silent killer. I think they should fit all gas outlets in the country with some kind of small party pop.
Yeah, every time.
And then that doctor what would he say then? They used to call it the silent killer. But now it sounds quite
I suppose the noisy gas from this episode was that bit at the beginning when Dev had the balloon, didn't he? He blew it up and then he let it go and it farted around the apartment. So,
yeah, but it doesn't kill anybody.
What a contrast. That was so artistically done, Coronation.
The way that he delivered it with such gravity as well. It's odourless. They call it the silent killer. Okay, guy, sit down.
It was... Fridays was just that on top of everything else that just fell completely flat for me.
You can tell how compelling the storyline was because I was just fascinated. Number one, I wanted to know what Dev was cooking for the twins. Did we ever find out?
I'm not sure.
I'm mad about that. Secondly, I was so distracted by the fact that Dev was trying to sell jelly babies for £3 next to... What was it? Dolly Mix and eclairs for £1 a bag each. £1 for a bag of Cadbury's eclairs? He must be having a laugh.
The pound is like how much for a chocolate bar these days, isn't it?
Well, he's not making a profit
I remember
with
when
that,
they were 25p. Yeah, that was... Anyway, we'll get to that. Sorry, just had to get that off our chests first. I went into today's episode thinking, full of promise. This is, good week. It's on track to be.
It was absolutely fantastic. The first episode of the week, and then it just went downhill. Has anyone watched Society of the Snow? Like I have, about everyone eating each other in the Andes. And it's like climbing up the side of the mountain and then downhill when you go on the sled and you get back to the
I thought you were going to say that got worse at the end. Was it alright? Was it alright all the way through? Did it get your Gemma recommendation of the week?
Oh yeah, definitely. It should win an Oscar. I say, if you were in a plane crash with the characters of Coronation Street,
who would you eat first?
And why is it Bobby? So Bobby, I know you're not dead yet, but come here.
I don't know.
I just want to ask you a question.
I don't know. Who'd you get the most meat off? I don't know.
Well, according to your AI art, Ed.
Oh yeah, my AI generated art this week, which was Corrie done in the style of a I don't know again. Stained glass window this week. Yeah, editors had put a few pounds on him.
It made Damon look like Harry Styles.
Yeah, maybe it used to be Craig, didn't it? But I don't know. I think he'd be a bit gristly now.
Well, I'm not going to say.
don't probably best not to say who we would eat first on the Corrie cast, but
whoever died first.
Yes.
Yeah. Wouldn't kill anybody.
No. Okay, so let's actually get on to talking about this week's episodes then. The storylines that we have this week. Are you going to
tell everybody what your storyline?
My very insensitive storyline title for the heart wrenching scenes in Billy's flat this week. Yeah, Paul the Plug. You laughed.
I didn't laugh.
I showed you this week and you found it hilarious.
No, I didn't.
Collared is what we're going to call the dog story. I had a couple of options for the dog story, but I can't remember what the other ones were. None of them were particularly good, but collared because Terry's been arrested. Twinina. I've got some really bad story. I think the writers of tonight's Corrie must have come up with these storyline titles tonight. Twinina because there were twins and there was. I wanted to call it Quarrel and Aadi, which was quite good.
I thought that was funny. Why did you change it?
Well, it wasn't really about quarrelling, was it? I could save that until there is a massive argument.
They were having a fight because she didn't.
Quarrel and Aadi. That is a storyline title for the ages to come. Okay, Quarrel and Aadi is our third storyline. Last week we had, hey, I remember you. This week it's, hey, are you still here? Because Damon is still lingering around the street like a silent killer.
Hey, what happened to your car?
This is the storyline title that's just going to keep on running until he's gone again.
I cannot believe I've just gone here. And then
there's some Gemma stuff.
Right, I've gone to ITV/advice, Coronation Street section, to find out what I can do to stop being killed by the silent killer, the odourless gas that is carbon monoxide. It doesn't even have it on there. Yeah. But it does have, it's got RSPCA, bullying, anti-bullying, national bullying, knife crime, childline, victim support, national gambling, Barbara knocks at 90, action fraud. Is that for her specifically? What is she supposed to do about it?
Is that like if you've turned 90 recently and you're staring mortality in the face?
Here's how to apply for your winter heat allowance.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Do you remember when Rita was nearly killed from carbon monoxide? That was a story once.
She fell over, didn't she, onto a Christmas tree? Or was that something else?
No, that was something else. Rita's been in much peril over the years. No, she was found on the sofa and all the oldies came in.
Yeah, I remember that.
She had too much makeup on her and they couldn't find a pulse.
Falls over on boiled sweets and starts eating them.
Anyway.
Falls on a Christmas tree, starts eating them.
I don't think that in 20 years' time we're going to be saying, remember when Aadi.
I don't even think if we did a character profile of Aadi, we'd remember this happened. It was one episode.
Yeah. Anyway, we're not onto that one yet. We'll pull the plug. Gemma, you are as our most sensitive host. Would you like to?
This was such a great episode. Honestly, I thought this was fantastic.
The Tuesday's episode is my favourite for a while.
On Tuesday, Billy is getting ready. His last day at work.
For now.
Paul thinks that he's nuts. Todd comes over, he's nervous because they had this discussion the previous week about assisted dying, and he sort of is not happy about this. He doesn't want to be roped into it, but Paul's desperate, and he tells him, I haven't changed my mind. I'm done with this. I've booked to see Dr. Gaddis and I'm going to ask you for some morphine. I'm really sorry this is hard on you. I'm really grateful, but I am going to need you to help me. I can't do it by myself.
Yeah, because He doesn't want to do it straight away, but he's realising his other hand is starting to give out, so he literally isn't going to be able to do it himself, he thinks, unless he goes over to Aadi's flat, like I said.
Todd's like, I can't just snuff your life out, and Paul says, you're my only hope. Todd sits down with him, and Paul says, this is only going one way. I don't want to be locked in my own body. I don't want to be helpless. I feel like a hostage. I want some options. And this is the awful thing, isn't it? It takes away all of your freedom and your ability to choose things.
Yeah.
I can totally see why he wants this.
I can as well.
As an option.
I'm still not too keen on if this story follows through on this.
Me too.
But I was more convinced that this is an interesting route for the story to explore after this episode, and it's a shame it kind of petered out a little bit as the week went on.
This was enough for me to say this was worth doing, but I don't want them to actually make this how Paul dies.
No, but he kind of did he paint a rosy picture of it? Maybe he didn't really. And we did have, as in, like, he didn't say, oh, it's going to be perfect for me, I'll be happy about it. It still is feeling like...
Well, he said he didn't want to go. You know, but he can choose how.
Still feels like a bit of an iffy thing to do for him. And also, Roy knows about it now as well, doesn't he?
Knows about
I know, the news is spreading.
Bloody Kevin. Mouthy little git.
Yeah.
Kevin is the new... Who's that the one I hate?
Bobby.
No. The mouthy one who was a nurse.
There's so many. Martin Platt.
Martin. Kevin's the new Martin Platt.
They've been in the same camp for years.
Yeah, they have. So, Paul goes to see Dr. Gaddis, and he's talking about how bad the pain is and how ibuprofen doesn't touch the size, or ibuprofen, depending on how you say it. And she says, like, I can't justify giving you
he's trying to get
morphine.
himself some morphine or something, isn't he? He's
she's saying,
exaggerating how bad his pain is, and she's not getting it.
Just give him anything he asks for, honestly, really. He's not gonna. How much do you need to worry about all of the downsides of giving him morphine when he's dying? So cruel. It feels
there must
really
be
cruel.
some kind of...
I thought obviously there's clinical reasons why, and they've come to this decision in no light way. But then again, there are plenty of things the medical profession does to people that feels very cruel and unfair, so I'm not going to give him a complete pass.
Nice first appearance of the year for Dr. Gaddis.
Yeah, with great hair.
Great hair again, as usual.
Wonderful.
Very voluminous this week, wasn't it?
The volume wall was in full effect. Paul and Todd end up in the Rovers. He's maudlin about the fact that he can't get this morphine, so he starts Googling how do you kill yourself with over-the-counter medicine. Abby overhears the fact that he is not being allowed to get morphine. She doesn't hear the suicide part of it, but she hears the morphine, the pain relief thing. She's outraged. And Paul's like, drugs, yeah. So they invite Abby over later, him and Todd. She comes round, and it was really awkward for a minute, wasn't it? Because she's like, hi, guys. I don't know why I'm here. Like, if somebody invited me around the house who I didn't really know...
I think that's the first time that she'd ever been in that set. Same with Kev later on.
I wouldn't come. I just wouldn't come round.
I'd perfect.
Have lots of important things to do.
This is brilliant for me because I was already loving this story so much, and then to have Abby play a part in it now.
This was great.
She's not going to go away from this story because she knows about his plans now.
We don't know where this is going now. So he's talking. He's completely frank about where he is with his MND, how awful it is, how trapped he is. He's really piling it on.
Yeah, because he wants
lying.
her to do... He is a bit...
No, he's not. He's telling her the frank and unvarnished truth about what it's like to live with a terminal illness. And she's finding it really hard to help. And she says, oh, really hard to hear. And then she's like, what can I do? I wish I could do something. And she says, what? Paul says, wow, you can help me actually. Can you get me something for when it becomes unbearable? And she twigs that he's asking her for drugs. And she says, look, I really can't. I don't do that anymore. I can't get into that. And she looks really upset with herself. And she starts saying, why can't you go to that Switzerland clinic? And he says, I can't afford it. And also, I don't want to go there. I want to do it here. I want to be around my things and my friends. And Abby says...
Hope's blown for Coronation Street location shoot in Switzerland. It's been so long since they've left the UK. It's been
not fair, is it?
20 years or so, maybe.
Can you imagine
50?
if the first time they did an abroad scene, there was this kill Paul in Switzerland? So Abby then says, this was kind of a bit out of left field for me. I'm not sure what I thought about this, but she says, I couldn't do this to Bernie because I know what it's like to lose a son.
I really like that, and it gave more context to the conversation that they had a couple of months ago, which seemed a bit throwaway. And actually, I think Abby would, or Sally Carman and Jane Hazelgrove would have a great conversation here. I literally enjoyed it very much, but I thought it was just, this is the sort of conversation that naturally mums might have, and let's throw in a character scene because that seems to be what the fans are asking for. And I thought nothing of it, and we maybe not see them again. But to bring it back and...
Yeah, that's a good point.
Although she did immediately change her mind and say, "Oh, go on."
Spoiler. I don't know. I thought the thing is, she's going to lose a son either way, but Abby said, "I can't do it to Bernie. I can't sort of be responsible for why she's losing her son, but I won't tell anybody about it." And then she leaves, and then she goes off, doesn't she? She goes to the garage. But then she leaves.
Yeah, she lies. She says she's got to go to make a breakdown but actually she's going to find Dean.
She goes to a location shoot.
She does, yeah.
She meets up with Dean. She gets some benzos. And then we see somebody taking photos of her with a mobile phone. And this was quite intriguing. I was like, oh, who's that?
So I thought this was going to set something up. The one issue I would say with Monday's episode is that some things moved a bit fast. I didn't particularly mind in the overall picture because it made the whole episode sort of fast moving in a good way. I wanted to find out what happened next, and Corrie didn't dilly-dally around and say, "We'll come back next time to find out what happens here." They packed a lot in, but I was kind of hoping when the photos were being taken, this is going to be something that maybe Abby going to get blackmailed? Is she going to have the photos posted through a letterbox or something? And we're going to have to guess who could that mystery photographer be. But yeah, it basically in the next scene we find out, don't we?
Yeah, so it's Cassie.
It's Cassie.
She comes back to the garage going, oh no.
No, that's the accent that we say for the dog lady later the dog on. Lady.
She tells Kevin that she saw Abby meeting up with a drug dealer and she's using it again and she's not fit to be around the kids.
Yeah, because Cassie still bears a massive grudge against Abby for everything that happened with the scratch.
Well, it's not just that. She set her up in the first place because she's seemingly sweet on Kevin. It's not that she hates
They haven't
Abby.
gone down that route any further.
There
was a few kind of remarks maybe this week, but not much.
Paul, so Abby goes with the drugs round to see Paul and Todd, and she's not happy about it, and she says, "Do not take these until you're absolutely sure that it's over. Once they're in you, you're not getting them out." And Todd's like, don't do it. And Paul says, "Abby, this is the best thing anyone's ever done for me."
I felt really bad for Todd during all this as well, because he does not agree with it, that this is the way that it should go. But he's kind of complicit in it now. He knows he doesn't want to, dob Paul in it. Not that Paul hasn't done anything wrong yet. And he can see that it's what Paul really wants, but he desperately wants to stop him. And it feels like everything is being put in place that he can actually kill himself.
Yeah, I know. I thought
and Todd will feel guilty. He'll feel like I could have stopped this, but I didn't.
Well, yeah. It's again though. This was what came out when Billy finds out later, and Paul's pointing out that the very fact of the matter that he's powerless to stop Todd or Billy from preventing him from doing this is part of the reason why he wants to do it in the first place. He's completely helpless. Yeah. So, she's ashamed of it. Abby's really upset with the choice that she's made, but she leaves them, and Todd doesn't want to leave Paul alone, and Paul's like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it now, but it will be sooner rather than later. I'm not going to wait.
Britain's Got Talent Week is a long way away, Todd. All I'm saying is it might be before then.
Abby goes back to the garage, and Kim's like, "Oh, leave! Oh, you've been buying smack," and then he says, "I'm taking the kids. You're not having Alfie." And I thought, excuse me, who do you think you are? That's not your kid. Who do you think you are, Kevin?
Did he say that she can't have Alfie?
He did say you're not having Alfie. Like, no, you take a seat. Thank you very much. I'll do as many drugs as I want. It's my baby. Don't you tell me what to do. But she manages to convince him, doesn't she?
Yeah.
So, meanwhile, Todd is still begging Paul not to go through with this. He says, you've still got good days. And Paul says, it's so close. I'm so close to packing up all together. My body is just shutting down. The jailer's coming down the corridor. He's got a key with my name on it. And Todd's terrified because this is all happening way too quickly. And then in comes Billy, and there's just so much tension in the room. Paul tries to say that he was just mithering, but it doesn't really wash. But before they can really progress with this conversation, in bursts Kevin, who's been told... No, he accuses Paul, of sending Aadi off to buy drugs.
Yeah, Aadi hasn't explained to Todd...
Well, no.
Kevin, sorry, what's
she's
explained.
She's told him, I bought the drugs for Paul, but I don't think she tells him it's for suicide. I'm not sure. He says, look, you can't make her buy you drugs. She's an addict. If she's too dangerous for her, she's going to fall back into her old ways. Just leave her out of it. Don't mess her around. And then Billy's like, what? What's happening? So Kevin leaves
drugs,
after blurting this out.
Is it heroin? Because do I have some hankering for that?
I love heroin.
Drugs are bad.
Billy's saying what is going on. I assume these aren't for recreational use, and then he starts blaming Todd for letting Paul get this far and orders him out, and he kind of sheepishly leaves. And Billy's threatening to call the police. I can't let you do this, and now I know about it. I'll be complicit. And Paul says, well, you know what? Billy says, life's a gift from God and life is sacred. And Paul says, look, shut up. There's loads of stuff in the Bible that you don't pay any attention to. And Billy says, give me the drugs, and starts going through the flat looking for these drugs. He's really furious at this point.
I thought Dan Brocklebank did a great job
Both
with this.
of them did. I thought they were both. Dan Brocklebank was particularly good in this.
Just the desperation of trying to find these, tearing the house apart. Yeah, he was red in the face, wasn't he? Yeah.
Billy realises that Paul's got them on him, and Paul says, well, take them then, if that's what you want. I can't stop you. Go on, take the candy from the baby. Take away the only choice I have left. Then we cut to Kevin talking to Aadi in the cafe, and he apologises for going off on one. Roy's listening in, and Aadi tells him what's happened, and it comes out that it was to Aadi that Cassie's the one who followed her and took photos. And Aadi can't believe that she's done this, and she gets a bit mad about it. And then Roy later on goes round to see Cassie to tell her not to ruin things for Aadi and Kevin, because Aadi hasn't relapsed. She was doing what she was doing for a reason.
Yeah.
And Cassie says, well, I'm glad there was a misunderstanding and it wasn't just her being on drugs. And Roy says, well, there's been a lot of those, haven't there? Like scratching the car. Maybe you should just back off a bit. I thought that was weird because Roy was listening to this conversation where Kevin, Aadi and Cassie, was it? I can't remember. Well, they were talking about the fact that Paul wanted to kill himself with these drugs. I thought he would go down the route of, I've had experience with this, you know.
Did you not? I can't remember. Okay.
I really think that if I was him, I would, like, if I was writing this, I would have Roy talk to Paul and say, this is your choice, but let me tell you what this did to me as the person who was left.
It's not too late for all that to happen.
No,
and also I don't know how widely known it is by the residents exactly what happened there. Obviously,
yeah, but
we know Hayley.
Yeah, we do.
Took her own life. I can't even remember whether everybody knows. No, they did.
Well, he made a big fuss about it at the funeral, didn't he?
Yeah, that's
Carla
true.
knew.
Yeah.
I think it would. There's no reason for him not to say something to Paul and Billy about this.
Mm.
Like, if you do this, it must be with your mutual understanding.
Yeah.
But then they came to that conclusion in the end anyway, so it was kind of wasn't needed. So anyway, Paul and Billy are having a cry on the sofa, and Paul's crying that his body's packing in, and he won't be able to tell him he even loves him, and he says to Billy, you know, I'm going to end up in a better place anyway. I don't want to be a pile of ruined flesh in a chair. Billy starts looking out the window, looking really anxious and upset. And he says, you know, you don't know how long you've got. It could be weeks or it could be months until you get to the stage where you can't use both your hands. And Paul says it could be any day. I need to do it while I can. Please let me do this. Don't make it harder for me. And Billy's crying, I won't do it. I'm not going to stop you. I'm not going to make it harder. When the time comes, if you really want to end it, I will help you.
It felt like this episode felt a little bit rushed, and it probably would have been a bit more natural if he had slept on it, or it would have just been more usual for the way that they tend to do things on Coronation Street, wouldn't it, if he'd have slept on it? But I think on the whole, I'm glad that he didn't, even though possibly, even in real life, you wouldn't have your opinion changed, which was rooted in a deeply held belief that this is wrong. It just took a couple of scenes and a little bit of persuading from Paul to get Billy to change his mind.
No, I thought this made sense to me, because this isn't the first time they've had this conversation. If it was the first time it had ever been brought up and Billy was like, no, okay then I would feel differently about it. But Billy's known for a while that Paul had this in his head, and he's now telling him straight, I still want to do this, and I'm actually putting things into place. So they hug on the sofa, and Billy's saying, look, don't worry about your conscience, don't worry about me, I'll hash things out with God when the time comes. And Paul says, which is what I was thinking, you're just saying that, you won't be able to do it when the time comes. You'll back out, or you'll chicken out. And Billy says, I promise I will. And he goes and gets the Bible, and he swears, he's like, by Almighty God, I will deliver you into God's loving embrace at the time of your choosing. And they're both crying and hugging. It was so deep. That was
just a really, really well done scene in every single way. Direction, scripting, performances.
It was so heartfelt and true to the characters and to Billy's faith, I thought.
Yes, I think so. Apart from the whole thing that I don't know. I wonder how many vicars were watching going, oh, hang on a minute, I don't think I could do that.
But I think Paul's point, though, stands a little bit there, that there are things in the Bible that he doesn't follow.
Yeah.
And so when something is... it feels really cruel to say, oh, this book says I can't do that, even though it says I can't do these other things, but I do those anyway.
Well, everything that has happened to Billy regarding the wedding over the last few months has probably made him realise I need to think for myself more. I need to it's not just pick and choose, because that makes him feel a bit more hypocritical, which he doesn't want to think that he is, but he's realising that that he needs to do what's right for him as well.
Well, I know that people always like to trot out that, if you believe in the Bible, then why don't you follow the rule about not mixing don't mix your fibres, you're not allowed to wear two different types of cloth. It's like, well, clearly you can see that there might be, in somebody's mind, a bit of a difference between that and, not eating shellfish, and also, like, do not murder people.
Yes, exactly.
You can use your common sense.
Although Billy is going for straight to the top and saying, okay, I will do the murder one then. But the idea that when he says I'll square it with God, like. But
no, think about it. Think about things like, okay, say you're a religious doctor and you have a patient who's on life support and they're not going to ever get better, they're just languishing and suffering, and the family is saying, can we switch the life support off? Do you switch the life support off, or do you say, no, the Bible says I can't? Does that count? Is it not the same thing?
Yeah.
Because Paul's going to die one way or the other, and it feels as though if you're going to say, is it God's plan? Are you just not doing it sooner?
Yeah, I suppose so. I think
you can.
But by the end of it didn't feel out of place for me. It felt like it wasn't an out of character moment in the end, and the fact that they actually brought the Bible and faith and everything into it made it more character driven. It was so really poignant,
and it was something unique to these two characters that I don't think many other characters could have had a conversation about.
Yeah.
which I thought was really good. And I would love to see more respectful treatment of other types of religion and beliefs. I mean, poor Bernie had crystals crapped all over in the end. But just well done, Corrie. I know that I'm sure that there aren't very many religious people that work on the show, but to be so respectful of Billy and Paul's beliefs in that scene and to be so true to them.
It was also
you don't
a call
have
back
to be
to
religious to see how that was a very beautiful scene.
No, it was a call back to the bathroom scene where Paul had talked about being baptised, and I've said since then, well, that seems to have been conveniently forgotten. When are they going to bring that up again? And this was it, and it was done in just the right way for me, and it feels like Paul really believes it's the right thing, and he'll be going to heaven sooner. It was just all around lovely.
Well, from the perspective of religion, as far as I understand it, as a heathen myself, surely it's better if Billy kills Paul than Paul kills himself.
Why is this?
Because once... surely I thought that for many years the church considered it to be sinful to kill yourself. Because the reason is, once you've done it, you can't be absolved of your sin, can you? Because you've already done it. Whereas if Billy kills Paul, he can be like, sorry, and then God have to say, all right,
don't do it again.
Please don't do that again, because twice I will be suspicious. Right, on Wednesday.
Yeah, we was just left after Monday's episode.
Like, what a beautiful,
very, very nice,
well performed, well written, well plotted scene. A really nice way for them to, again, another like really weirdly uplifting part of this really tragic, horrible story.
Yeah. Because
there's beauty and love in that relationship that came from this. You wouldn't see this much of Paul and Billy if it wasn't for this storyline. No. Well,
I'm sure there'll be more that we can talk about the maybe the long term implications of this. But let's get to the end of it, because
I'm trying to.
They weren't in it as much on Wednesday.
On Wednesday, Billy's trying to put off talking about this.
They get the idea that he's had a few overnight regrets, maybe.
They basically say, just to remind everybody or people that are just catching up with us, we've both agreed that you're going to kill me and we're going to keep everything quiet, right? Right. So then we get the three gay dads in the pub. Todd's checking in how things are going, and Paul tells him what Billy had promised to do, and Todd can't believe it. And Billy says they've talked, but they're not going to dwell on it. Then they decide to set Moses up with
Todd. The story kind of goes off to
like,
Moses
don't talk
and Todd
about it anymore.
Shipping.
So Moses is the is he Nigerian?
Yeah, I think so. PA. The carer
for Paul, and Todd fancies him. So they've
all assumed that he's gay.
Someone knows that Moses is the last. He's his last job of the day.
Yeah, so she's going to try and get him.
And she's also managed to find out that he's gay, but she doesn't know if he's got a boyfriend.
She's very sneaky, isn't she? She kind of says,
"Oh, is there a Mr. Moses or a Mrs. Moses?"
I actually really enjoyed Summer in this scene. I found that everything that's going on in this flat was just cosy and warm and nice, and there wasn't any major. There wasn't any major drama on this episode. It was just like a lovely family scene, despite all everything that went on Monday. It was just cozy and
lovely. So they get him for dinner, and Todd, they're asking him, "Oh, do you know Manchester?" And Todd's like, "Oh, I'll show you around." And when he goes, everyone's really pleased with themselves. And then we just get left with Todd and Billy, and Todd saying, "Are you sure about this plan?" With Paul. And Billy says, "I'm just going to have to do it, but I can't think about it." That one day Paul's going to wake up and say, "This is my last day." And then he clams up and he doesn't want to talk about it anymore.
Yeah. So, what do you reckon then for the outcome of this? Are they actually going to go there? Is Billy going to be able to do it? The fact that everybody knows about the possibility, where are you thinking that...
Yeah, but I don't want to talk about it because we're supposed to be doing our predictions episode. And so some of the things that...
I think we can still touch on it a little bit.
I didn't say we couldn't.
The fact now that who knows now? So Kevin, Abby,
everybody
Roy,
knows.
No, it's not everyone. It's
Cassie knows.
Small.
Cassie knows. Summer knows. Well, Summer probably good for work it out.
Todd.
Everybody knows.
I wonder whether Todd seems to be the one out of everybody that's most against it.
Well, that's because he thought he was going to have to do it. And he also thought that Billy didn't approve.
But when they tell him in the pub, he still doesn't look particularly happy about it.
No. I'm really surprised also that, and I know this would be really petty of him, but if I was Todd, it would smart a little bit to me that when I was dating Billy, his religion was so important that I got put second. But now he's married to Paul.
Yeah.
And he's contemplating sort of, doing this very drastic, sinful act to help Paul. I mean sinful in inverted commas. But I would be a bit bitter about this because that was one of the major sticking points between Todd and Billy, that Todd never really respected his faith and thought he was silly and it compromised their relationship. But it's really interesting that... he's willing to bend to the rules for Paul. It must mean it's true love.
Must be. Well, Todd's changed. He's a new man now.
He is a bit, yeah.
I'm wondering whether Abby's going to get in trouble for this. If he does indeed use these drugs to kill himself eventually, and I still think I don't really want it to go that way, but could Abby get him... How implicated would she be if she's the one that's providing? She's given him the drugs. That's pretty naughty. So I don't know whether she's going to go back. Is she going to be in prison for that? I don't. But I wouldn't mind having an Abby story in there. What else? What else is going to happen with this? Some people online have been saying, I've seen thought that this is too soon after the assisted suicide story with Hayley. What are your thoughts?
We've spoken about this.
Did we speak about that one last week?
I thought it was too soon, and you said it was 10 years ago.
Yeah, no, I'm still thinking that. I think that
there's a lot more stuff in the media about it, wasn't there? Somebody was talking, high profile was talking about it not that long ago, about when my time comes, I want to be able to choose when I die. I think the government shouldn't be involved in it to sanction or stop it from happening. I think it's such a sticky thing. Like I said last week, I do think it's too soon after Hayley. I think there are lots of reasons.
It's just about different enough to me. Like before, it was just the two of them. This was this great love story that had been going for 15 years. There was obviously not the religious aspect to it.
I didn't like it. I don't think I liked it when Hayley did it.
No, I don't think I did either.
I thought there was a really nasty side to it, a really kind of sordid and dark. Like, just remember them, Hayley and Roy on the bed, and Roy's begging her not to and trying to grab her, and she's taking the glass and stirring it with her finger and kind of pulling away from him in a really jealous kind of way. Like, you're not, don't try to take this from me. This is what I want. I can't have you stop me.
Yeah.
And then the aftermath of it, where he just hated her for a long time for dying before he was ready to let her go.
I suppose if he does go through with this as well, then there's going to be an awful lot of blaming and accusation throwing, and I don't know whether I particularly fancy all of that side of it. Mm-hmm. I wonder whether... I'm kind of wondering what this whole Todd and Moses thing is about. Is it just about getting a new relationship for Todd up and running, or is Todd going to mention it to Moses? I've got a feeling that he might let it slip to him somehow.
Oh dear.
You think? And Moses wouldn't be happy with it, but that I'm still not giving up on the idea of Jim. Moses can, with his mate at work, tell him.
I don't doubt that there are people who would run immediately to their superiors or the police and report if they were to find out that somebody was planning this. But I also don't doubt that there are people who would say, well, you let me sort it out. I know what to do.
Moses seems a fairly pure type. I think
what does that mean in this context, though? Because you could go either way with it and say, oh, yeah, he's very pure, he wouldn't let this happen. Or, yes, he's very pure, he understands that sometimes these things the medical profession cannot help. And
he seems one for the rules for me. I think he'd probably tell them. But it wouldn't surprise me if Moses finds out via Todd. Anyway, that was all. I don't feel like we've got much to say about this.
No, because I don't want to talk about the predictions.
Okay, fine. But very good stuff, Coronation Street. We approve.
We've come a long way from that. I can't remember which king was it, where his doctor deliberately killed him at a certain point when he was dying so that it could be reported in the newspaper at a certain time. We've come a long way from those days.
Right, Colin, let's talk about the dog story. Dog story stuff. So this. Oh,
can I just say the phrase "illegal puppy farm" made me mad every time I heard it.
Well, it has done for weeks. I thought that they explained it well enough. They're breeding them without having the proper.
What exactly?
No, they did. They explained it. I can't remember.
I don't remember them explaining it.
No, they did.
You don't need. There's no such thing as an illegal puppy farm, is there?
Apparently. Why do you think there's not?
Okay, is there a legal puppy farm?
Oh. Yeah.
No, there isn't. You don't need to say illegal puppy farm. It's like saying illegal criminal.
I thought that the RSPCA woman on the behind the scenes video was kind of explaining.
Yeah, but that wasn't in the show.
No.
I tried to look this up, and it really boils down to it. Unfortunately, it seemed to me that the council doesn't like it when you make money and you don't give them a cut.
I think it was the fact that
that's as far as I could work it out. It's to do with not getting a license and not paying your tax on your income.
I think it was more the fact that the mummy dogs are being
abused,
mistreated
and
abused,
and
the puppies are kept in poor conditions. And
that's not illegal, though.
Well,
there are certain standards by which you have to keep your pets. Yes, that's true. And the RSPCA has been instrumental in making sure that you need access to clean water, and all of their all the bowls and things, and their food has to be clean and fresh, etc. It just drove me mad. Like, illegal puppy farm. Oh, it's a legal dog. It's an illegal dog.
I just think it's really funny how you've not really got into this story at all, have you? And I've been very much enjoying it. And Wednesday's episode, when we actually got to go out on location and see the puppy man's house, was like, oh, this is just what I want. It still seems to be carrying on a little bit. I think it could have ended after Wednesday's episode, but I don't know. So anyway, let's just run over what happened for there. So Evelyn has found the last puppy for sale in the paper, and she's determined to get revenge on Terry to find him out before it's too late and bring him to justice for his illegal puppy farm.
No.
So fortunately, she knows that he hangs a lot round the precinct, and she sees him coming out the pound shop with he's got bags of puppy pads and food and stuff, doesn't he? So she follows him out around the streets to his house, but he's too smart for her and sneaks up behind her and gives her a bit of a scare before sending her on her way. So back in the cafe later, Evelyn says, well, look, Terry is clearly illegally breeding puppies here. He had tons of food and pads and stuff, and Roy says, look, I just don't want you to risk getting yourself in trouble over this. I care for you. Bit of an moment there. Back at home, Evelyn tells Cassie about what happened, and Cassie's says, this Terry, he sounds like he's got it coming to him. We're going to go and teach him a lesson. So, Wednesday's episode.
Imagine the look on their faces when they get there and it's a legal puppy farm.
Yeah, they're going to feel so embarrassed.
I feel really stupid.
Yeah, just imagine if they get there and there's just their beautiful puppy paradise palace there, and they got little puppy butlers, and the mums are having a great
They keep saying illegally breeding puppies as well, and I just imagine like a puppy Romeo and Juliet being like, our love is illegal. I'm sorry, Juliet, we cannot be together. But
you got any benzos? Should we end it now?
How could it be wrong when it feels so right? No, this is illegal. Dogs can't illegally breed, can they? There's no law about which dog's allowed to bonk another dog.
Any listeners know the details on this, please
I know
let
I'm
us
getting
know.
really pedantic about this. It just feels so clunky and silly to say that it's a legally bred puppy. You cannot legislate a dog shagging another dog. They do it when they want to. You can't control them. Love is love. I'm going to say love is love. We had Billy and Paul first gay wedding last year. This year, I'm going to say all puppy love is good as far as I'm concerned. I'm not going to stand in their way. If they want to make babies with each other, they can.
But they don't want to make babies. That's the whole point.
Did anyone ask them?
Was there consent? We've learned about this.
We've got to look really carefully into this.
Tell you what, if Amy finds out about this, she's gonna
Tracy's gonna put up a flyer.
So Evelyn goes to see Cassie in the garage on Wednesday's episode, and her sleuthing has led her to believe that in this one particular photo with the puppy for sale, there's a green jacket that is being held against, and we only know one person with a green jacket around here. It's Terry. It must be him. Let's go for it. Let's try and track him down. So, and I didn't understand what was going on. You had to explain it to me. I think I was being particularly thick on Wednesday's episode, but they try and get Roy involved, and so he calls the number in the paper, and this woman is on the other end, and you said it sounds just like Mrs. Doubtfire, didn't you? I've seen other people saying that as well online. I want to know whether it was in Ian Kershaw's script, I think, on Wednesday, wasn't it? Like, did he write her as a very Scottish lady?
She's like, she's doing the rude.
So
what was happening there?
She's like,
I tell you what, that is definitely illegal.
There's only one puppy left, and it's £1,500, and you've got to be cash because I don't really trust the banks. And Roy says, Roy's clearly been given a script by Evelyn, and he's there reading it like you've got to make sure he says it all right. And what about the microchipping and the vaccinations? And she's like, oh yes, I'm sure my grandson will have arranged all that.
See, I know
better
that.
Come quickly. This is the last one. We've already had people interested today.
I know you can't sell a puppy without a microchip, or you're not supposed to. So I know that's true.
This is true. Yes. Very true. They're clearly not. But this woman's like, not microchipped, are they? But the woman's just trying to get
But why wouldn't they be microchipped?
Because he's probably too expensive for him to do. You can't be bothered.
Much. If you're selling a puppy for £1,500, you don't want to. Look, this is the thing. This has always been my motto, and I've told you this time and time again. This is like my catchphrase. Only commit one crime at a time.
I would say that if I bought...
Don't illegally breed puppies and then sell them without microchips.
They won't have done, because... And all that'll happen is if one of their customers finds out that it's not microchipped, they'll go back to the woman and say, oh, I'm sorry, dear, I thought my grandson had done that.
It wouldn't happen.
Oh, I feel so stupid.
Because you've got to take the puppy to the vet. At some point, the dog will go to the vet, and the vet will say, why isn't this got a microchip? And then the whole thing would get...
Yeah, no, and that's what I say. And then the old woman will just say, oh, I'm sorry.
That's not what would happen.
You're just determined to pick holes in this story, Gemma.
Well, no, you're the one that's saying that they don't have microchips. I'm saying they probably do have microchips. Why would they not have microchips? What's the vet going to do? Oh, these illegally bred puppies from an illegal puppy farm. Yes, they are. Okay, well, I had to ask you.
How are they going to give him microchips? They
take them to the vet and go, here's the puppies.
Here's a massive crate of puppies.
Yes.
I've got 15 here. Don't ask any questions.
Yes.
Oh.
What is the vet going to say?
Don't know.
The vet.
If it was anything like our vet, she's like, yeah, bring it on. That 50. Well, how much is it per microchip? Ka-ching.
Well, listen, the vet. Why would the vet? As long as the animals are healthy. Yes, if the same guy keeps coming to you and he's got 15 puppies this week, 15 puppies next week, 15 puppies the week after, you might be asking questions. But he's not going to be dumb enough to do that, is he?
But I don't know whether the puppies would look healthy because they're not being kept in very good conditions. I think they'd be looking pretty sad.
But how is he going to sell them then? This is what boggles my mind about this. What are they trying to say? This is the thing. What are they trying to say here? Is he illegally breeding dogs in by which they mean not giving the council money or getting a licence or going through the correct channels? Or is he abusing animals? Because those are two different things. And I honestly couldn't give a crap about all the legislation and rules and stuff. I don't. Is that really such a big crime that you didn't fill out a form so that your dog could shag another dog? Right, that's a totally different thing to somebody actually abusing dogs. I care about that. I care about the welfare of animals, and I care about people treating them badly, and I care about poor dogs being forced to breed over and over again really bad conditions, bad health.
But I think that's what it is,
but that's not what they're saying. They're saying it's illegal. It's an illegal puppy farm, and all the dogs looked fine. Every single dog there, and I know that they couldn't do this.
Let's just kick the puppies before we start rolling.
And the dog that Freddie, who's supposedly a brood bitch, looked completely fine. If she was a real breeding,
no, not Freddie, Mason. No, what they call her, Taylor.
Mason. Taylor, yeah. If Taylor really was a breeding bitch, she'd have nipples to the floor.
But they couldn't show that pre-watershed, Gemma.
That's just why it doesn't wash with me. Do you get my point here?
Yes, no, I get it.
An illegal puppy farm, don't care. Abusing a dog, sign me up, I'm stabbing him in the throat. Those are two completely different things. If you want me to care about something, don't write a story about an illegal puppy farm. Write a story about a man who boots dogs about.
I suppose we're just supposed to believe that. I mean, he didn't have a baseball bat or a cricket bat or something. And
do you think he like goes, "Oh, if you poo on the floor, I'm going to hit you with this baseball bat, puppy"?
Yeah,
the dog's
like, saying that,
psychological.
Because when Cassie was round there later, he was coming up the stairs going, "Hey, if you just don't shut up, I'll put you in a sack in the air." Well, didn't he?
Yeah, but that's just what you say in banter, isn't it?
Banter with the puppies. Yeah, banter with puppies. He's got a sad life.
Do you see what I'm saying? I just thought this was comically... This was like, oh, this man's evil because he didn't fill out Council Form 15B.
I didn't... I still
That's different from abusing a dog.
I like that this is a fact. I know it's not low stakes because that makes me sound like I don't care about the welfare of the animals, which I do.
They're not real, though.
It feels like it's not a usual affair. It's not a big massive murder. It's not a stunty. And it feels a bit different for Coronation Street. There hasn't been a story like this before.
But what are they mad about though? Are they mad that he's selling a dog for 15 grand, 1,500 quid, or are they mad that?
He's mistreating.
Because the dogs are fine. The dogs are fine.
They had to.
They didn't show him doing anything horrible to any of the dogs, and they could have had him like go in the room and then like smack, you know, or like him carry a bag with like a dead, you know, clearly there's a dead puppy in there that one of them's died. There was nothing to do with that. It's like they were too scared. It's like, oh no, we've had Paul. Paul was sad this week. We can't have another sad storyline. We'll just have a man who didn't fill out forms.
I can just imagine them having the scene, you know, like when Phelan and Stephen were killed and they had to zip up the body bag. Yeah, can you imagine it with body bag for a little puppy in that?
Do you see what I mean? Yeah, the dogs were fine.
They were in tiny little cages, all being stinky.
But they all looked fine. They look fine. They look really great.
Well done the RSPCA for making sure that Coronation
that RSPCA liaison officer is directly responsible for this being a completely unconvincing storyline, for not letting them beat the puppies about. They needed stunt dogs that were really good at like limping and like had matted fur. And
how old were these pups? Couple of weeks.
They weren't very old. I mean, they weren't very young at all. That's the other thing. They were not puppies. I don't know.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I can't believe you just didn't say, I don't care about all this. Look at those cute puppies. I was saying that. Yeah. And I don't even like dogs that much.
I do love dogs. I do love dogs.
If this was an illegal kitten farm, this would be up there for the story of the year for me already.
They were
just puppies. Imagine if they went in there and a lot of little kittens mewing around.
That'd be pretty adorable. I liked the behind the scenes thing because you did get to see them, and the RSPCA lady, I've forgotten her name. She was like, the puppies are all in the cage now at the moment, and we're making sure that we're monitoring them to make sure when they go to sleep, we will have to leave them alone because that they're displaying behaviour that means that they are sleepy and we have to let them. Yeah. And when they're playing, they're engaged, so we can use them in a scene. It's like, these puppies are telling you what to do, man. Just get them out there. Just say, come on, act. Maureen Lipman has to do it. You can do it as well.
Tell you what, Claire Sweeney, best day at work, that must have been.
Yeah. What a great day.
Anyway, so Scottish woman has sent them on her way. Somebody else. Oh, what?
What?
Nothing.
I was going to say, why not make it more evil?
How?
Why by what I said, like indicating there was actually dog abuse.
They didn't want to bait the Ofcom complainers. That's how. They'll probably already get some.
If I was in charge of this programme, there'd be so many dead puppies. In this story.
Just be wading through them.
They'd be like, oh, I stepped on another one. I'm being really flippant. I love dogs a lot and I would never want to see that on screen. I just find it a very strange choice that this guy really didn't seem... He was not caught doing anything apart from having a stinky house with puppies in a cage, which I just thought they were in there because they were supposed to be going to sleep.
Don't forget the first time that we saw him with Taylor, he was pulling her along the street, wasn't he? He was hurt by the chain.
Oh.
He's not a very nice man, is Terry?
I know, but they
well, the story's not over.
They didn't convince me that he was abusing these dogs.
We get that. Anyway,
they should have got that. You know the classic dog move where the dog,
classic dog,
the acting dog move where they're like, "What's wrong?" and the dog goes, "Arr!" and then it puts its paw on its nose and like bows its head to show that it's sad. Why didn't they have a dog do that?
Because it's 2 weeks old. This poor dog.
Acting.
You can't teach an old dog new tricks, but equally you probably can't teach a 2-week dog many tricks.
There are people on this show that have been in this show since they were babies. They could have done that. Why can't these puppies do it?
Right. So,
criminal.
They're at the precinct, and those flats are filling out nicely now, aren't they?
That old lady's been up there the whole time, apparently, selling dodgy dogs.
And that woman has got a working front door that leads outside. Unlike everyone else who has to go inside to enter their flat, this one opened out onto the precinct. So, well done you. Anyway, I've lost completely where we are now. Sorry for that little tangent, but it was kind of on topic, I promise.
What do other people think about this? I know I'm being silly. What do you guys think? Please tell me. So,
this woman is clearly a front for Terry's evil puppy farming illegal operations, isn't she?
Illegal puppies.
So the scheme would be, and I was being spectacularly dumb during this, and I'm not calling anyone else who didn't get it spectacularly dumb, but Terry was delivers the puppies round to this woman's house so that his house isn't needed to be visited.
Right. So common scam, when you're buying a puppy, one of the most important things is to make sure that you get to see the puppy with its mother. And this is like a dead giveaway that the puppies are removed from the situation because it's not what you would want how you'd want your puppy to be raised, and it would give it away. So they take the puppies to another address so that the woman can sell them, and then you think, oh, this lovely little old lady, she wouldn't do anything wrong. It's all part of trying to convince you that they're not an illegal puppy farm.
Well, Cassie pretends to be delivering a load of dog food to the woman, and she's like, "Oh, I don't have any dogs here. No, it's the wrong place." So Cassie's sent on her way and thinks, "Yeah, this is a front." So next up, she and Evelyn and Roy convene at the cafe, and Roy says that, "Okay, we've done all we can. Let's pass this over to the authorities or a dog charity." And Evelyn's like, "Oh yeah, maybe I will." She sidles off. So she and Cassie then independently decide to have to get in and deal with this guy themselves. Cassie's method is a little bit more direct than her mum's, because she literally climbs in through his kitchen window, sneaks upstairs, and this is where she finds the room full of puppies. Lovely. Terry kind of hears some noise because they're whining around a bit more. He comes up yelling that they're going to end up in the well if they're not careful. Cassie's hiding, and when she spots a box of money. There's a load of 20s in a box. So, a temptation there in a way. Meanwhile, Evelyn's outside the front filming. And again, I'd say it one more time, I was being not very clever on Wednesday's episode. Or maybe it wasn't written well enough. It wasn't. I don't know. There was a moment when I thought that Evelyn and Cassie were... This was their joint scam. I thought it was like, I'll go in through the back while you cause a scene up front. But it wasn't that, was it?
No.
I don't know.
You kept asking weird questions.
I did. Yeah. She's just out there with a camcorder, isn't she, filming and trying to gather evidence that he's got an illegal puppy farm. And he comes out and makes a scene saying... and then there's a passerby that walks past, isn't there? And the Terry's like, "Don't worry about her. She's just my batty old mum." And she still thinks it's the 80s with a camcorder. Yeah, they're having a scuffle because he was trying to get the camcorder off of her.
Yeah.
And then so he tells her to do one, and so off Evelyn goes. Upstairs, meanwhile, Cassie is busy pocketing the cash, and Terry is back in the house calling old Mrs. Doubtfire, saying, "Look, we need to call time on this. They're on to us. This is too risky."
But
then he hears Cassie and the dogs again. she's got all the money now, and she starts trying to bundle the dogs into a carrier because she's going to escape with them. But Terry comes up and finds some of the pups crawling around outside their cage. Before he can tell what's going on, though, Cassie whacks him round the head and lays him out on the carpet. It was very much in the same vein as Griffin's spider in the Ginnell last year, wasn't it? Classic stuff. So she pops the pups back in their cage, says, "Look, don't worry, I'm going to ring the charity," and then she heads back off. Back in the cafe, Roy says to Evelyn, "I've contacted a charity and pointed them in the direction of Terry's place." And Evelyn's like, "Oh no, Terry's going to think it was me. He knows that I was there sniffing around. He's going to think that I've set this RSPCA onto him. Thanks, Roy. Brilliant." And then he's going to go after Tyrone, because that was another thing that Terry had threatened. So I'm going to, your grandson had better watch his back now I know that you're niggling me. So Cassie gets back to the cafe. She's really apologetic to Kevin and Abby about skipping work today. She's been helping. She says, "Look, I've been helping Evelyn." Oh no, sorry, it doesn't go to the cafe. She goes to the garage, doesn't she? She said, "I've been helping Evelyn and Roy out with this whole puppy farm thing." Kevin and Abby are like, "This is brilliant. We've not really been on it much for this past year. And now people are involving us in their illegal puppy farming stories, in their right to die stories. They literally know all the goss of the street at the moment, don't they? Do they know that Ed's a gambler? Somebody better tell them that and make it a hat trick." Anyway, Abby clearly doesn't think too much of Cassie's excuse for skiving off work again, in her opinion. And she says, "Look, you come to work to do your job. That's it. And if you want it, prove it." So they leave, and Cassie pulls out the cash from her pocket just to have a look and show us viewers at home she does indeed still have the moolah.
Illegal puppy farming money.
I know. So Craig comes along to the cafe later, suspicious of Evelyn, because Terry has been... Somebody's reported her to them, saying, well, she was seen with Terry earlier, so Terry's been found with a head injury now. Evelyn must have been the one that did it.
Yeah.
You need to come down the station with me, Mrs. Plummer. Cassie sees her being bundled into a police car later, and so she's starting to feel a little bit guilty that maybe she has got her mum in a spot or bother. Evelyn's not been arrested, mind, she's just there to help with the inquiries. And Evelyn's like not having any of Craig's nonsense, is she? She's like, "This is what happened, went round, did this, didn't hit him, I would have done if I could have done." And he doesn't seem to believe her. She says, "I'm fed up with it, I want to leave." And so he can't do anything, so he just goes.
That's just the general thing
Craig
about Craig. He can't do anything.
Totally useless. But anyway, it gets tied up by the end of the episode. Evelyn gets released, and everyone's a little bit worried that if the person who whacked Terry round the head doesn't get found out, then Evelyn's going to go down for it. So there's a cliffhanger for the end of the episode. But it kind of just gets tied up fairly quickly on Friday's episode, doesn't it? A spoiler alert for this. Basically, it's just somebody sees that somebody was walking past and saw that Evelyn didn't go inside the flat, so therefore she didn't do it. It's basically that. There's a few other bits. I mean, Cassie is well,
they know that somebody did it, even if it wasn't Evelyn. Someone assaulted him and pinched all the money.
And Evelyn, over the course of the episode, realises that it was Cassie who did it, because Cassie's offering Evelyn a nice meal out. "Oh, I wonder whether it's Beast or Speed Dial," at the beginning of the episode. And Evelyn says, "Oh, what was that? A raise at work, I suppose." And Cassie's like, "Oh, yeah, that's what it was." So she goes home after finding out that she's not going to be sent down for this, tells Tyrone, but then they're saying, "Oh, who could have hit Terry then?" Hope is later on in the episodes finds out about Cassie's illegal freezer. No, it was a freezer, wasn't it? The stash of money. I mean,
why would you keep your money where the source of all their food comes from?
Yeah, that's where you get your fish fingers, waffles, your potato waffles, exactly, your turkey Twizzlers, your ice cream, your soft scoop vanilla ice cream. That was risky, Cassie. But anyway,
Richmond sausages.
I quite enjoyed the fact that Hope is in on the scam with Cassie, because Cassie's like, "Look, don't you tell anyone, don't you want that nose ring?" And Hope's basically just blackmails her to say that enough that she can buy a pair of earpods for it as well. So
being a puppy
and they're
farmer,
not cheap.
This is probably why I'm so mad about it.
Very lucrative.
Because I think I would be great at puppy farming.
I know, it'd give you more time with dogs, which you like.
Yeah, love it.
And clearly you're rolling in it.
This is how mad I got about this. It reminds me of how mad I got. Remember that time when they had that fake bouquet that Mary had, and I was complaining it wasn't the right type of flowers, and she got the name of the flowers wrong, and they weren't even in season.
I don't remember that.
I get really mad about the stupidest things.
Evelyn, the girl. Oh yeah, Bobby. I'm getting worried about this.
Yeah.
It feels like Bobby is being paired up with Evelyn, and oh my gosh, don't do that. This. Bobby had a couple of scenes with Carla today. Where he was flicking knickers around the factory and...
We're not talking about him?
No, but there wasn't really much of a story, was it?
I am not into... I don't like pervy... Do not try to endear me by using pervy humour with this person. And the idea that a bloke would find it sexually exciting to work in a knicker factory is not a funny joke I want to hear in 2024. And if you're trying to endear me to this character, don't. I know that the thing is about it is they set themselves up for this, because the whole reason why there is even a knicker factory is because they want to have sniggery little jokes about pants and. But
that factory's been there for 25 years now, and I think that. It's been drained dry that well.
Walking through the factory with the knickers looped over his thumb and then flicking them. And saying that he was having a knicker flicking competition. I
did like the bit where Carla flicked them into the bin at the end of the scene and gave herself a little satisfied grin. But
there are so many things that could be funny that
they haven't found their way into a script for Bobby yet, though.
Is it really funny that women have pants? Just shut up, please.
What about stealing Carla's banana? Did you find that side-splittingly hilarious?
Well, it was...
Or maybe calling Evelyn soup... What was it? What did he call her?
Puppy woman. It wasn't even funny. It wasn't even like... It wasn't a pun on anything. It didn't refer to anything. It was just puppy woman.
I don't think there are any puns for it. Otherwise,
no, I know,
I would have come up for it.
Why didn't they just... What? And then doing the making Maureen Lipman,
she must have seen in the script, you got to do puppy ears above your head and go rough. And I can just imagine her go, seriously.
No, I'm not going to say what she thought of it, but if this is the way that they want to trying to ingratiate him, it's not working.
We gave him, him the benefit of the doubt.
I'm giving him
in his
grace.
First week. Now this is really his second full week of episodes.
It's not his full week, though.
Oh no, he was in it for a few episodes, then he went off for a few episodes, and now he's back again. I
just don't want a pervy, wisecracking person working in the factory as though the entire idea that women have underwear is a funny concept.
I don't think they're going to keep going back to that. I think it was just one of his...
I find it borderline misogynistic, to be honest.
I just think it was one of his many hilarious jokes that he's going to be coming out with. What was that other one that he did? Oh, it was when Cassie offered to take Evelyn out for dinner, and Bobby turns around and said, "Oh, actually, I'm busy tonight." Oh my god. What's like the minimum contract you get on Coronation Street? I'm sure that Bobby's going to be in the show for at least 6 months, but I've got a feeling it's going to be for a lot longer.
Yeah, me too. And I'm happy if I'm still viewing this as teething problems. I think that
so am I.
I'm not judging him on any of this yet, which is why I feel quite comfortable to criticise it, because I just don't think this is how his character's going to be for the rest of the time. I just think it would be a massive stitch up, because he doesn't write the script, and these jokes, I mean, maybe he does write some of the jokes, but I don't find them funny. It's such a hard task. What a hard job to go in, though. How many performers could go into something like Corrie? There have been some big names.
Did a good job.
There have been some big names that have struggled to come in and be funny.
The worst one that what was that guy? Was it Norman Wisdom? Was he came in as like an old jogger back here. He came on. It was on one of my birthday episodes. Do you know the scene I'm talking about? And he's like an old mate of Jack's, and he was in it for a couple of. Oh my god, that was dreadful. Did not find that funny in the slightest, but it was only for one episode, and okay, I'll let you off with that. But yeah, it seems like this Bobby's going to be in it for the long haul.
I don't think Corrie can write jokes for characters anymore.
They can for some. They can
write funny situations and humorous quips and put downs and sarcasm and scenarios, but I just don't think they can do jokes. When was the last time you heard a character tell a funny joke?
I'm sure they do.
Answer the question though.
No, I don't remember the answer to
I'm also challenging everybody else. I'm sure that Corrie used to be funnier.
It's funny in different ways.
Yes, it is. That's my point. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And so they're bringing in a character and they're trying to make him into a stand-up comedian when they don't do that on Coronation Street anymore. It doesn't fit into the sense of humour that the show has, and they can't write for it. And I don't think the delivery is very good, and I don't blame him because he's been chucked into this massive. Millions of people watch this soap. There are very few people that like this character. He must have known it was going to be stacked against him at the start, and nothing has happened so far has done him any favours at all.
Something else that we've not mentioned on the podcast when he was on his first week is that Jack has said that he knows one of the writers on the show, and the character was written specifically for him, and lots of people are saying, "Oh, that doesn't seem fair. That seems a little bit."
Well, I don't care about
that. Like he only got in because he knows someone on the show.
He didn't get in because he's just someone's mate, though, is he? He's a performer. He's been performing. He's done.
Yeah, but I think the fact people are saying, "Oh, it didn't hurt." That he's got inside contact. I don't want this to be turning into. Let's rag on Bobby show, but we are absolutely still willing to give him the benefit of the doubt if they can get out of this teething stage of let's really make him annoying. There was even a line in there today, wasn't there, saying, "Oh, dogs don't find me annoying, but people do." It's like you turned to me and said, "It's a shame that the vast majority of the people who watch Coronation Street are actually human beings." And not sure what the canine audience figures are for Corrie these days.
Or maybe we can get some extra people by doing that. Yeah, I mean, when they wrote that line for him, did they anticipate everybody taking that quite to heart? Because everybody...
Well, clearly he was supposed to be annoying, but I think it's a case of, I annoy the other characters, but the viewers find me endearing.
Yeah, what a bold move to go, yeah, he's deliberately annoying. Okay, cool. I don't think in the way that you mean it to be, though. Yeah.
Anyway, so he's there calling Evelyn dog woman or whatever.
Puppy woman.
Puppy person. And Evelyn's impressed to hear that he used to volunteer at a rescue centre. So there's a little bit of backstory for him. Now, Ruby, meanwhile, is finding out that Hope has got money for ear pods from Granny Cass. And Hope's like, well, yeah, I can get you some if you want. It's just, what do you need? Back at home later, Evelyn finds out from Tyrone that Cassie has not had a pay rise. What a shocker. So that's
not where the money came from.
She's already starting to wonder what is going on here. Yeah, she said that's where she got the money from. Where was it? She then gets a phone call to say that Terry has not been sent down because there's no money to prove he's guilty. So that's what makes it an illegal puppy farm, having illegal money for the illegal puppies in his illegal room in the illegal cages.
This is my point. He wasn't abusing the animals. There was no welfare concerns. The RSPCA didn't turn up and go, yes, this is actually illegal. This is animal cruelty. You're going down for that. No, the reason they couldn't send him to prison was because they didn't have any proof that he was taking money without reporting it to the council. Like I said, the council doesn't care. All they want is their cut. They want the money from you because you're selling just don't.
Well, the councils are not doing so well financially.
I don't care.
Southampton Council is definitely
every
not
single
in a great position at the moment.
But do you see my point? The very fact of the matter that they went there and said, "Oh yeah, the only thing we could get you on is tax evasion," just like Al Capone. He obviously wasn't doing anything bad to the puppies. Otherwise, he would be in trouble for that because it is a criminal. You can't abuse animals, but he wasn't doing that. He just didn't fill the forms out.
Okay.
I'm very much against, like I said, legislating animal love.
Right. Evelyn goes round to see Cassie in the shop and says, I know where you got this money from. Want a pay rise, was it? You were the one that clonked Terry around the head and nicked his cash. She's obviously fuming because it's down to Cassie, that Evelyn was arrested in the first place, and Cassie was willing to let her be sent down for this, or whatever it took. And Cassie's kind of excuse was, look, I didn't mean to go there to hit him round the head. I just went to take the puppies back or look after the puppies. But she didn't seem particularly...
I don't get why Evelyn was quite so mad about this. Because Evelyn would have done the same thing if she had been physically capable of doing it.
What, hit him round the head?
Smacked him about and stolen his dogs and taken the money off him.
I think she might have whacked him around the back of the head. I suppose Evelyn, we have seen her be a bit of a tea leaf in the past, haven't we?
Evelyn's a massive thief. She used to steal stuff off of Dev.
Yeah,
that's how she got a job.
That's
true.
True.
Like mother, like daughter for number one and number two. You would have done it if you could have done it.
Maybe it's not the fact that Cassie stole the money that Evelyn's mad about. It's the fact that she stole the money and then still kept stum about it when Evelyn was taken in for questioning. Yeah, and she was potentially going to be facing a bit of a fine or a jail time or whatever.
But then I thought Cassie was quite funny when she said, "Yeah, and I'm not back on the gear. I gave 20 quid to a homeless man
outside the bookies."
Wow, was it an illegal homeless man?
Probably.
Did you declare that income to the Inland Revenue? Did you make sure that he put it on his tax return? Don't think so. Illegal. Arrest her.
That's kind of it for the story.
I just thought it was weird that she like made sure that Evelyn knew she gave £20 to homeless man. It wasn't £5. It wasn't a quid. It wasn't like a sandwich. It was £20. Is that significant amount or something? Do you get a prize if it's over a tenner? What do you mean?
Right, so where are we up to with this now? So
Puppy
Terry,
woman.
They still need to... I think Terry is going to get convicted with this in the end. There's going to be some way that he's going to... It didn't really need to go any longer than next week. This is more turning into a story of, isn't Cassie a wrong-un? But
she's not, though.
Well, there's been two things in the past fortnight that she's done that are slightly dodgy. One with a scratch and letting Aadi take the hit for it. Now, I don't blame her for not wanting to go to prison herself.
Are we mad about illegal puppy farms or not? Coronation Street?
Yes, very much so.
Then why isn't Cassie a hero? She's puppy woman.
Yeah.
Not Evelyn. Evelyn's just worried that her status is being threatened. She's got the moves down and she's even got a catchphrase, which is ARF.
Can I just give a quick shout out, and we did put a tweet out about this. Abby's nails get a mention in Wednesday's episode.
That was Ian Kershaw that wrote that.
They're just explaining all of the actors.
Why do all the actors look like
why
they're
do they look
famous?
like that? Yeah, because they had a line a couple of months ago about Cassie's, was it her teeth, I think?
Yeah.
And they haven't mentioned Abby's teeth yet, but I can't remember what Abby said now, but she's there like preening her nails, isn't she? And she's like, it takes a lot of work to have nails like this when you're working as a mechanic. Ask no questions. I thought that was brilliant. That was well, everyone's saying it. We might as well just go along with it. That was funny.
This is the sort of thing that in a parallel universe I'm probably ranting about for half an hour.
Yeah,
but I'll let that slide. I don't really care.
Okay. Anyway, that was good. There was more precinct stuff. Poole Street was the address that was given for the precinct. I'm not sure whether we had that before.
This is interesting because we had two
location
shoots in the same story. We had the puppy farm location. We had the drug deal.
Yeah. Why didn't Dean meet up Abby in the normal alley? They could have had that there, couldn't they? I'm not complaining, obviously.
Well, you can make your mind up. Do you want more location shoots or not?
I do. I thought it was fantastic. Right, you lucky person, get the Twinina storyline.
Wonderful.
Coral and Aadi, sorry.
Coral and Aadi, yeah. On Tuesday, Amy and Aadi are talking in the cafe. He's still interested in her, and he gets jealous when she mentions she dreams about Zayn Malik.
Yeah, he gets over her quite quickly.
Is that somebody from Boys Are Loud? Girls, Boys...
I don't know who Zayn Malik is. Is he in One Direction one?
Oh, maybe that's it, yeah. Dev gets soppy with Asher about her imminent 19th birthday. And he's got a photo of them with Sunita when they were born, or was it the year after?
Yeah, you should. I remember this photo from 18 years ago, and soon you'll become 19 years old.
He wants to do something nice with them and Nina for the day, but she's not feeling into it. And this just is this not teenagers in a nutshell? Watching this as an older person who misses those days with your parents. I was just watching this going, Don't be mad that Dev wants to spend your birthday with you. You should be thankful.
Dev on Friday's episode was just
dad.
the best. Yeah, he was making
so
that
adorable.
lovely breakfast. He was treating his kids like prince and princess.
Yeah, exactly. They? And they're just surly about it because they've got all these hormones.
It's not like they've got millions of friends that they could spend the day with, have they?
Wow.
Aadi's a massive loner. He's got no mates.
He's got his friends from Fresh Goes.
Oh, yeah.
Nina comes over later. She wants to do something with Asha for her birthday. And she says, oh, sorry, my dad wants to do something. And Nina's all put out about it, even though they all live in the same house. So surely she's invited. Aadi goes back to the shop later. He's knackered after a hard day's shelf stacking. He's not in the mood to listen to Dev whittering on about the art of salesmanship. Asha comes in and mentions the birthday meal to Aadi, and he's not very impressed because he thinks it's going to be cringy. And
what with Dev? Never.
Asha tells him Dad's just missing Bernie, and they should just humour him. So when Dev comes in, they both say, "Yeah, we'll let you treat us nicely for our birthday." On Wednesday, Aadi and Asha are putting together plans for Friday evening because they're going to go around to Aadi's flat after the meal, aren't they? They're going to have a party.
Bit of Taylor Swift.
Yeah,
not the dog.
Bit of Little Mix. We got some uni people coming, got some Freshco people coming. Then she gets a phone call from her course supervisor.
Oh yeah. Do you remember it was the fact that no, actually I can't remember what it was. Something. Oh, Isla's been suspended. We find out.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. One of my favourite bits of this story, probably my most favourite bit of this story, was that weird Glenda scene on Wednesday's episode where she's talking to the girls in the shop. It was Asha and Amy, wasn't it? And Glenda's just putting her foot in her mouth and digging a deeper and deeper grave by asking the girls, why don't you look fabulous like me? Basically.
Oh, you're so normal and refreshing.
Your hair is just so straight and you don't do anything with it.
And she's trying to offer them tips, so they're not really interested.
Yeah, that was funny.
That was really
funny stuff.
Someone's reported Isla for having an inappropriate relationship with Asha, and she's furious and accuses Nina.
Who on earth could that be? I wonder who I think it must be.
Nina denies it and tells Asha she's out of line, storms off.
These were the quarrels. Then
we get to see Amy overhearing Aadi telling Bobby that Amy's off the market.
Oh yeah, Bobby's kind of got his eye out, hasn't he? And that Amy there, she looks like a nice bit of skirt. Who is she single? Aadi's like, no. See, no. The fact that he's clearly still into Amy did make me wonder why he ended up doing what he did at the end of Wednesday's episode. But who am I to understand teenage boys? It's been so many years since I was one.
Amy then tells Aadi, I'm not a prize to be won, and storms off. Aadi finds Nina in Seb's garden. She tells him what happened, and it wasn't her that reported Isla. They sit down next to each other, and she's moaning and crying about it and saying how bad it is, her relationship with Asha. And Aadi says that she's not terrible, you're smart, funny, beautiful. Then they have a kiss. And Nina pulls away immediately and says, oh, this didn't happen.
Right, pause for a second. Did you know this was going to happen before it did? Had you seen any pictures?
I think I did.
I sadly had been spoiled about this one. What did you think?
Stupid.
It's very, scandalous, soapy stuff, isn't it? That can't happen very often. The fact that you got one bisexual and then two twins. It feels like, oh yeah, that was bound to happen one day just because of the various pieces locking into place here.
It's almost be rude not to.
It would.
I just thought this was silly, and it annoyed me.
But
then again, sorry, but
it didn't lead to anything exciting on Friday, did it? A little load of nonsense.
In the last year, I'm gonna say Nina's had such a character assassination.
Yeah, totally.
Who watch? I always use this as my litmus test. If you started watching Corrie now, And everyone was saying to you, oh yeah, Nina's one of my favourite characters. She's great. She's right laugh. She's really good. She's nice. She's kind. She's like Roy's niece. She's really funny.
Well, she's sassy. She stands up for other people.
She's sarcastic.
She don't take no nonsense from anyone.
Would you get any of that from Nina now?
She's just no.
She spends all her time looking like she's just finished crying, moping after Asher.
She does. You're right. She just looks post-weep. And what's
her big story last year? She fell in a pond.
Maybe that's what did it, and she's just been wet ever since. Yeah, they need to give her spark back. She does feel
she's awful.
And I know she went through great trauma when she was attacked in the street and kicked.
This is what Corrie does. They take these
teenage boys,
strong heroines, and they make them they build them up. They're great. Everyone loves them. They're sexy. They're sassy. They're fun. And then they put them through some trauma, make them cry for like weeks on end, and then they become a shadow of their former selves and never do anything fun again. Same things happen to Carla. Same things happen to Toya. Same thing happens to...
Well, it's kind of happening to Daisy at the moment in a way, isn't it? She's not completely.
It's the Weatherfield Waterworks, and then you turn into the Weatherfield Wailing Widows.
Yeah.
Really bad. Sort Nina out, because she used to be fun and now she's... I don't even know what Asher sees in her.
No,
anyway.
They need to give her her strength back.
Amy storms into number 7 and moaning about to Asher about what Aadi's done, saying that she's his bit of skirt. Nina gets home. Amy leaves Asher so they can be together. Nina goes to the kitchen. Asher apologises for accusing her. And Nina's like all shook up by the fact that she just kissed Aadi. Asher's asking for forgiveness and Nina says yeah, and then they have a hug, but she says, can we forget about it now? And Nina says yes, and Asher goes to kiss her, and then she's like, oh, it tastes strange, or she used to make some comment that was so...
You taste like my brother.
It just felt like some line that they picked up from Pornhub.
I can't remember what she said.
Anyway, yeah, it was a bit weird. On Friday, Dev's on the phone to Bernie talking about how he wishes she was there for the twins' birthday. She's probably thinking, I'm glad I'm in prison. I can't think of anything worse. And then he serves them a posh breakfast, Asher and Nina. Aadi's
back in those flat at the moment, isn't he? Yeah.
Why has he got a headache? Is it
slightly?
Is it a
worse for wear after?
Is it a hangover? Has he got the silent killer, the odourless gas that is carbon monoxide? Asher apologises again to Nina about the Isla thing, and Nina's like, everyone makes mistakes. Some of them are different ones. Some of them might be illegal puppy farms. Some of them might be kissing.
Some of them might be kissing your girlfriend's brother.
Yeah.
This is what happens when they put bisexual characters in Coronation Street. They resisted all these times, and now they've got one. They're just so promiscuous. It's terrible.
Michael. Aadi turns out that is like the word. That's like one of the worst stereotypical things that people say about.
Well, Corrie is playing into this, aren't they?
This is why they refuse to say anyone's bisexual, the same as they refuse to say anyone's autistic, even though they clearly have people with autism on the show. Aadi turns up at number 7. Dev's falling all over him. Nina's looking super uncomfortable. Dev's like, I'm going to work now, but I'm going to come back and cook you the most amazing lunch, but I'm not going to say what it is. Gemma, you're going to have to just imagine. I really want to know what it was. I would have eaten it. Nina's left with Aadi, and they're like, listen, let's just not talk about it. I feel bad, don't you? Yeah. So they agree to forget it never happened.
Forget it ever happened.
Yeah, forget it never happened. Dev comes back later.
Considering they agree this, they fess up quite quickly, don't they?
Well, Dev comes back later. Amy's not coming for lunch. Asher opens her present from Aadi, and it's a bracelet. And she feels guilty because she's bought him socks. And like she should do Craig's job because she needles it out of them immediately. She's like, oh, how come you bought me this? You normally only do that when you're guilty. And they both go, oh, why would he be guilty? And look very guilty.
They did both Adam really and Molly did a very good job of looking terribly guilty.
Yeah, they
did. But I think that the characters would be slicker with this. They really were making it a massive giveaway. And Nina didn't need to jump up and say, no, what would he be guilty about? If I was Nina, And I think Nina would do this herself. She would just stay quiet and hope that he didn't carry on digging that grave for himself. But no, instead she's like, oh no, he's not guilty at all. So Asher clearly sees that
Asher's
what's
like, hang
going on
on
here.
What's going on? You're hiding something.
And she didn't have to turn the thumb screws too hard.
She's like, oh, have you got me a surprise? Are you doing a surprise or something? And they're like, yeah, surprise, we kissed each other.
Really? I was expecting that to at least go down the route of them having to say, yes, we have got a surprise. And then they would get their heads together and say, oh, we've got to do a surprise for Asher now. What should we do? And then the rest of the episode, because I didn't know any of this with the carbon monoxide was happening. I thought the story would, then go in the direction of they have to come up with a last minute surprise, brilliant birthday present for Asher. But instead they just sang like a canary, didn't they?
And then Aadi nearly died.
Speaking of canaries, if Aadi had had one of those, he wouldn't have got into that mess, would he?
Aadi confesses. Asher and Dev lay into both of them. Dev says, look, Aadi, let's leave. Let the girls talk. And then really immediately Asher's like, I'm not taking your apologies. I don't want to hear it. This relationship's a car crash. I know, I've been in one. And then she leaves. So leaving Nina alone in her house, in their house. Dev and Aadi comes back. And I thought this was so sweet because Nina was crying and Dev gave her a massive cuddle. And he was really sweet to her. Even though
he knows that she's done wrong.
Yeah.
She's kind of part of the family now. And Dev's family is very important to him.
Aadi takes his birthday beer and goes home. And when she goes to see him, Asher goes around to see him and he's passed out drunk on the sofa. She gives him the bracelet back and says, I don't want to see you again.
This is
then
when
she leaves.
Yeah. Was it at this point that we saw the flashing carbon monoxide, or were we not? No, we didn't know at that point, did we? No.
Amy finds Asher in the shop later, finds out what's happened. Can't believe that there was a kiss between Aadi and Nina. And Asher says, oh, he's dead to me. And then we cut to
that's
the carbon monoxide alarm going beep, beep, beep. Actually, it was going beep. Don't want to bother you, but you...
Listeners, go and check your carbon monoxide alarms. If you didn't get it from Coronation Street, they're trying to teach you.
What? You should have changed the battery in me. You shouldn't have thrown me across the room. Be careful, because you might be dying. Be careful. Watch out. Watch out.
What happens next?
Sorry, I don't want to wake you up. Because you look so peaceful, Aadi, but you might not make it to the end of the episode if you check your contract. So... Amy goes to the precinct to see Aadi.
I wasn't sure why Amy went over there, and she was very insistent about seeing him.
Probably because she knows that she's in a soap, and when Asher said he's dead to me, Amy thought, I've been in this game. This would be ironic. We know that the scriptwriters wouldn't pass up an opportunity.
There's not much else been happening around here today, so I got a feeling this could be the big drama.
Gav lets her into the flats.
Hey, Gav's back.
And he jimmies the lock, and they rush in. He's unresponsive. Amy calls an ambulance.
I didn't like the script there. Like Gav says, phone the ambulance. And Amy's like, oh yeah, I was going to. It didn't feel like
snappy.
It was. No.
So
they go to the hospital. Boring hospital scenes after that.
He's been poisoned by the silent killer. And everybody should go and check.
It's the silent killer, the bistro ninja, because I'd be down for that.
Have you seen a woman with black hair who's got an Irish surname? And she's very thin, and she used to be in a band.
She folds her arms a lot.
Because if she hits you on the back of the head, you might pass out.
Maybe that's who did Terry. I'd be trying to pin it on Michelle.
Yeah, maybe nobody hit him and it was just the carbon monoxide.
Yeah, carbon monoxide can kill you in many ways. It can asphyxiate you. It can whack you around the head. It can.
It just is silent. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
That's the one thing you know about it. Everything else is fair game. So they're waiting to go see Aadi, and Dev tries to convince Asher to forgive what Aadi's done. It looks like Asher's going to say something, but she just goes and gets a drink. In the cafe, Roy can see there's something up with Nina. She tells him about the kiss, and Asher's ignoring her calls. But then we find out from Mary that the reason she's been ignoring her calls is because she's in the hospital with Aadi. So Nina rushes to the hospital. The twins are having a little make-up chat where Asher advertises apple juice. And he says that what happened with Nina meant nothing. You're great together. Nina shows up at the hospital, tries to convince Asher of how sorry she is. Asher believes her, but says, this has just made me realise, even if it meant nothing to you, this relationship's over.
I know.
And that's the end.
They had so much promise, didn't they?
They really are better as friends, in my shocking, controversial opinion. A lot of the times I forgot they were going out with each other. They were really sweet as friends.
They were sweet as friends.
They never really had much of a chance because they got together over COVID and their characters couldn't touch each other.
Was it COVID?
Yeah, because
it was a bit after COVID. I can't remember.
Well, no, it was when they weren't supposed to. They had to. They did have a kiss scene, didn't they? And it was like all filmed.
Oh gosh, yes, they did.
Yeah, thank
you.
They
had a terrible composite kiss scene in a cafe. Oh, that's brought back horrible for them. That was quite a while ago, so they've been together for a fair bit, a couple of years.
But it's like,
how much actual genuine relationship stuff are we? I suppose we've seen them. We've just seen them kind of slobbed off on the sofa together, haven't we?
Yeah.
Like mates.
Yeah.
There's been nothing kind of exciting about them.
They haven't been very intimate or kissy or lovey-dovey, which is fine with me, but you do need that to show people what they're going out.
They really just felt like housemates crashing at a dad's house.
Yeah.
And it's almost like Corrie have said, these two aren't working, let's split them up, but they didn't need all of this story for it, really. I wonder what whether Asher, because was Asher one of the ones that fancied? Was she with Corrie? I'm losing track of what happened with that now. But she has shown interest in men in the past, hasn't she? So I'm wondering whether both of them are going to have boyfriends next, because it felt like she was almost surprised herself a little bit by being attracted to Nina.
She was gay until she went out with Nina.
Yeah, and I was wondering whether when Asher and Nina got together, are they going to forget that Nina was ever interested in boys? Because it felt like they went a bit down that route with Rana, didn't it? It felt like she was like just full on lesbian once they got together in the speed dial van. But the fact that they have remembered this with the kiss with Asher means that, oh yeah, Nina is bisexual. Will they do it with Asher again? I don't know. I mean, this is clearly going to lead to Aadi and Amy getting together, isn't it?
But you're asking for predictions again.
Oh God, just leave it to the prediction episode then. Fine. Okay. I
mean, we've spoken enough about what we thought about what just happened.
Yeah, it was dull. That's what we thought about it. And I'll shock you now. I'm not going to have a whole lot of exciting things to say about the Damon Hayes storyline. I'm not hating him and Ed together.
I didn't get what's happening.
So he's
hired Ed for what? To build something?
Yeah, they said in last week's episode it's a bar job, I think. Or is it a swimming pool? Or maybe it's a swimming pool with a bar. I don't remember.
Maybe it's a barge on a swimming pool.
I don't. They're doing some kind of job together. And I think that the two of them are okay. I'm just not feeling Damon in the slightest. Sorry, Damon fans out there.
Right, and what was Dee Dee's history with Damon is that she was his lawyer, or he was...
Was he seeing her at one point?
I don't remember.
I think that she was charmed by him, and then when she realised that he was a dodgy sort, she gave him his marching orders.
Jesus wouldn't like this.
Yeah. I'd forgotten about that until you mentioned it, and that kind of makes sense why she's so insistent that her dad doesn't have anything to do with him.
Yeah, she was... Now. There definitely was something going on with Damon hiring the lawyers and Adam giving her the job.
Yeah. And
she was doing something, and it became apparent to her that she was not.
Yes, thank you for the reminder.
Okay.
So anyway, Ed has temptation placed in front of him yet again for the how many time is this?
Damon's like, Ed, buy me a puppy.
Yeah, 15 grand. Yeah. Oh, I'm trying to change my image. I'm not an evil criminal anymore.
I'm trying to make Sarah think I'm a cool dude. He's like trustworthy. He
could have bought Sarah Louise a puppy, couldn't he? That would have been the ultimate romantic gift. Yeah.
Yes, it would be if a man brought their romantic partner a puppy.
I walked into that one. For about the 10th time in the past 6 months, Ed gets a big wad of cash on Tuesday's episode so that he can go and buy some supplies that he might need for this job. And Ed's like, oh, here we go again. But Damon's like, no, you take it. Damon doesn't know that Ed's a gambling addict at this point, but Dee Dee certainly tells him when she corners him in the cafe later and saying, my dad's vulnerable. He messed up. He's got a disease. Not like Paul, don't worry. It's an actual... It's worse than that. It's gambling.
Yeah.
And please, don't mess up my dad's chance to go straight.
She just says he's got a gambling addiction. Don't tempt him.
Yes.
And Damon's like, oh no, I just gave him a load of money.
Yeah, he's like, uh-oh. So he goes...
He literally runs to the office.
And then much later in the episode finds him in the yard office and Ed has not spent the money, although he was apparently just about to, so phew, dodged a bullet there. And that was it for that. Wednesday, Damon gets a call from Harvey, and who still wants him to do this, whatever it is, bank job, I can't remember.
Puppy farming job.
Yeah. Just imagine.
Start an illegal puppy farm.
If it turns out that Harvey is the one pulling the strings in the puppy farm business, if he's the Mr. Big.
I want you to run a puppy farm for me. Don't fill out any forms, but if you hurt a hair on their heads, I will come round and end you myself. No dog abuse.
What do you call...
Oh, God.
I've got a joke kind of brewing here.
Go on, then.
No, I'm not even going to do it.
What do you call...
I was just going to make some kind of...
Come on, you can do it.
The head of a puppy farm in ancient Rome. Rex. I don't know.
What? Rex.
Well, that's a dog's name, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's the name of the king, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll workshop it later.
I'll cut that out if I remember. I won't.
Somebody else write that joke.
Got to take the rough with the smooth. Anyway. Oh, so you do better than me just like that.
That's because I'm Puppy Woman.
So I want you and Evelyn and Puppy Woman. You should have a bitch fight. That's what I have with the two Puppy Women.
No, we're going to have a party.
For supremacy.
And call it a bitch fest.
Anyway, Damon is overheard by Sarah Louise telling Harvey on the phone, I'm going to leave me alone or I'm going to end you. Sarah doesn't know that's who he's talking to. All she sees is him threatening some bloke down the phone. And then when he tries to talk to her, she's like, no, I don't want to talk to you. Leave me alone. Damon.
My pants. Let me see my pants.
Friday's episode, Ed comes over to see Sarah in the cafe to talk to her about Damon. So he's actually a decent guy. And Sarah's like, I don't care. I don't want to know. I don't want to have anything to do with Damon. Maybe he has changed. So she goes and finds him doing some wheeling and dealing on the phone by the bistro, and she says, oh, would you like to go out for a drink with me, Damon? And who knows what else might happen. And so I got Sarah Louise, honestly.
What a strumpet.
Seriously, you know what he's like. But I'm just refusing to believe that he's changed. Actually, if I wasn't being so stubborn, he kind of... I kind of believe that he does want to change. He's not wanting to do this job for Harvey. I don't think I've really seen anything since his return that's led me to believe he's clearly mega dodgy still, but I prefer to be in the camp that believes he's a nasty crim and there's no redeeming him. I hold a grudge against some people, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah. So I think everybody has their characters that they will forgive everything for.
I'll tell you what, it was actually me that crushed his car.
Yeah, because they find.
Yeah, that was random, wasn't it?
It's really odd.
Okay, it's just another scene of Damon and Ed. Oh no, there's a crushed car right in front of them. So Harvey, it wasn't me, has sorry, I'm just fighting with the cat.
Cat's fighting you.
The cat has just found a bit of stick, and then she's not having it.
Not allowed it. It's abusive.
Yes, Harvey is sending a message to his dear brother by having his car crushed. Hopefully it didn't have Fatboy from EastEnders in. There's a reference for you. And Damon gets the shakes from it and's like, oh dear, I'd better leave Weatherfield before I end up crushed in it myself. Or maybe Sarah Louise will, or maybe poor little Harry. So he goes round to Red Bank and says to Sarah, I need to skip town. Can't stay here anymore. I need to be on the run again. And
what about the swimming pool?
What?
Well, who's going to build the swimming pool?
Doesn't matter. He didn't care about it. He just doesn't want to end up
dead.
Yeah.
He had what happened to Rufus.
Quite. And so she says, no, don't leave. He goes to leave and then she shuts the door and they have a snog. Anyway, they're back together again. So if you're sad about the ending of Nina and Ash's relationship, at least we've got a new one here.
One door closes and another opens.
Yeah.
You've written discuss. Sarah forgiving Damon?
I've read
Do you think it was with a shag or?
Yes.
Pregnant?
I just really have got no interest in this story going down the route that it's clearly going down.
I can't
which is them
see
two being a couple. It's
Sarah
first nomination of the year for the Yellow Love Award, isn't it?
Such bad judgment in almost everything she does. So this makes perfect sense. But what is she doing? What is she doing? And
at least we could hopefully next week get some more funny David scenes when he finds out about this.
And also, what?
More squinting from Nick.
Like Harvey's had Damon's car crashed. That's it then, is it? Same as the week before when Damon kidnapped Adam and held him at gunpoint and nearly shot him and nearly murdered him in cold blood, but he didn't go through.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. I said he hasn't done anything bad since he came back.
No, exactly. But he might as well not have done because it doesn't matter, does it? Nobody anywhere on the street saw somebody taking his car and replacing it with a mangled up piece of metal. But yet normally you can't go anywhere without either hearing somebody talking about you from behind a wall.
He's very stealthy.
Or seeing people having an affair.
Maybe Damon is the Bistro Ninja. Maybe he found Bistro Ninja's handbook when he was... Or maybe you get told the secrets of the Bistro Ninja when you buy into the Bistro, as he did last year.
But why did he crush his own car then? To make Sarah feel guilty and drop her drawers.
Well, it worked.
It certainly did.
Yeah, these rich criminal types can afford a new car.
Oh, Matt, it just does just another one of those things that it feels like a frivolous, funny thing to put in and completely harmless, but what it does is undermine the integrity of the show in general. To just have things like that happen that don't make any real sense if you look at them for any length of time.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, Gemma's woes and misery on Friday's episode.
On Friday, she's telling Paul that she's worried about this social worker meeting, which happens at number 5, and the social worker's telling them that the process takes time, we're going to resolve it as quickly as we can.
Shout out to the wall in number 5, the little fireplace wall.
Very nice.
Don't get to see that very often.
Chesney saying, hurry up, we need the kids. The kids need Gemma back at home. Then the social worker leaves and Gemma and Chesney have a bit of a mope about the situation. And then Chesney tries to chivvy them along and says, oh, don't worry about it. Linda's coming. So Linda is
Joseph's grandma, Katie's mum.
Who's the rich lady that lives in Portugal.
About the 10 billionth comeback that Coronation Street has had this year of a character that I'm not really that fussed about seeing again.
She is going to... I think this is quite interesting because this is going to put the cat among the pigeons, isn't it?
Well, that's probably the point.
Well, yeah. And Linda, I don't think Linda particularly thinks Gemma's any good at anything.
Well, I can't remember. She was around for the wedding, wasn't she? Because she had that cake bite with Bernie.
Yeah, exactly.
And then earlier on, maybe 2 years ago, she was there for... Or was it last year when we had the Joseph and Chesney scenes in the airport? I don't remember. I don't mind the character, but I've got less than no desire to see her back ever again.
Well, Gemma's not happy about this, and also not happy about the fact that Chesney hasn't even mentioned it until now, and she's coming tomorrow. I assume it's because he can't handle looking after the kids by himself, but he still expected Gemma to do it when she was there. Gemma goes back, because she lives with Paul and Billy now, just to remind everybody. She gets a message from Joseph saying he's sorry he missed her and he wants to come back soon and he wants to be walked to school.
I mean, it was kind of sweet, but it didn't add anything, did it?
And she says, she's really worried and she loves him, and he says nobody's taken those kids from her. But I think Linda might try.
Do you think?
Well, I don't think if I was Linda and we still don't know what's wrong with Joseph, but we do know that he was in hospital because of something that Gemma did.
Yeah.
And that's why the social workers have stopped her from living with them.
And there was something wrong with him before then, though.
Yeah, and it's suspected that she's...
So why then Linda's going to try and get the kids off of it? She wouldn't be able to, though, would she?
She could try to do something with Joseph, but not with quads.
She's clearly going to get...
cares about the quads.
I know, of course she does.
Why? They're not her relations.
They're still family.
Yeah, but
somebody else to dote on with all the rich grandma money.
When she was trying to get Joseph over to live with her, she wasn't offering anyone else to live there, was she?
Good point.
She's smart. I wouldn't I want to see what they turn out like. Joseph's cute and waif-like. These kids, who knows what they're going to be like?
Is she going to be very judgmental of Gemma and
yeah?
The fact
and
that
then
she doesn't live
and then
there?
it will be revealed that Joseph's like secretly swallowed a battery last year, and that's why he's dying. And then everyone will have to say, "Sorry, Gemma, you were right all along." And I'll record it and play it back to myself and pretend it's about me.
So. This week's had its ups and downs. It feels like we've spent more time moaning this week. It's been a fairly short street talk on the face of it. But honestly, the Paul and Billy stuff on Monday... It has been a short street talk.
No, it hasn't. It's been nearly 2 hours long.
Yeah, it's usually a little bit more than 2 hours. I know how long these things last. Yeah, Monday's episode was so good. It feels like we didn't talk about it too much, but there's not much to say apart from... wow, wasn't that fantastically done in every single respect? And the fact that it's taken an element to the story that I didn't necessarily want to see it go down and make me completely go for it. Not that I want it to go down that way still, but make me understand that why Paul would consider it. I just loved it. It's everything else. I like the puppy farm. You didn't. But the Nina and Asher and Aadi, my gosh, that was dull. Damon not interested. Gemma's woes not interested. Not for me.
Oh god.
You what?
This Paul and Billy story feels like has barely put a foot wrong the whole time.
Yeah.
It's such a magnificently written, well performed story. Just great. I can't say, and that's the thing. You can't really say too much about it because it was so flawless. I think.
So
I don't want it, the takeaway to be that this week was terrible, and that there's no redeeming features, because that Paul story was one of the best. That scene with Billy and Paul where Billy's swearing on the Bible was just.
Well, I have
wonderful.
Now started my list of potential scenes of the year for 2024, and that is the first scene on it. So
it's going to be
expect to consider that again at the end of the year.
Billy swears on Bible to kill Paul. Billy kills Paul. Paul's funeral.
Are you having one of those as character of the week, or are you going for one of the dog people? Cassie for being brave names. Dog rescuer.
Puppy woman. No, I'm going to give it to Billy for that scene.
Yeah, I've kind of really struggled to pick between the three gay dads. I think they both had very. I can't know. They both had great performances. They both had
all of them, not both.
Yeah, they all did. Sorry, yeah. They all had features that I can't even speak today.
Like Todd's nose.
Yeah, I don't know. You speak. I don't know what I'm saying.
Well, the three gay dads, what a revelation! Because we used to make fun of them and say it was stupid, like they don't really work. But the relationship between those three is so mature and nuanced and unique, and there's nothing really like it. There's never been anything like it in Corrie. I don't know if there's anything like it in any other soap, but the complicated relationship that has been born out of this very long and sordid love affairs and things over the years. And who'd have thought that Todd would turn out like this? Just really great. The whole thing, challenging everybody and just bringing out the best in people when it felt like a really hopeless and bleak story. Yeah. There's still lots of sadness to come, but again, Corrie just manages to wring more humanity and just beauty out of it.
I think I'll give it to Billy as well, partly only because Paul's already had quite a few recently, and I'm sure there are more to come, but it could have been Todd, it could have been Aadi. I
saw lots of people saying that they were mad at Billy for being angry with Paul and trying to take the drugs away from him and things, but I genuinely think that
many people
most people would. Why would you go, oh good, yeah, you want to kill yourself? And we already talked about this, and I said I didn't want you to.
What's your score then? It's a difficult one for this week because the episodes did vary in quality so much.
No, the first, I'm just trying to remember, apart from Tuesday's episode, apart from the story with...
There was so much with
There
Paul.
was loads and loads of stuff with Cassie and Aadi and God, wasn't Kevin a dickhead? But, if it was Monday's episode, I'd be trying, by itself, trying to give it a 5.
Would you? See, I was thinking 4.5 after Mondays, and then Wednesdays was pretty good, but going down.
Average. And then
it's
just...
So I think I'm going to end up giving it a higher score than you. I think it's probably sadly evened out to maybe a 3.5. 3.5 ferrets on adrenaline out of 5. But it could have been so much more. I'm thinking it's kind of in 3 territory for you.
Why did they make Aadi nearly die? For no reason.
It's like, it's
for like
it's just for the sake of cliffhangers.
For drama for what, 10 minutes? And now they can't do it. This is the other thing. They can't really do a story about that.
Oh, but I love carbon monoxide poisoning.
It's the silent killer.
What are you giving it?
I'm giving it 3 mystery birthday lunches prepared by your loving father.
Actually, I'll change your mind. I'm going to give it 3.5 piles of ruined flesh in a chair, because I did like that line.
That reminded that's Davros.
Yeah. Right, well, there we go. That's it for this week's Coronation Street. Let's hope it's back on track again next week. So we've got Rachel round to watch it on Monday, and we need to see a show of the good.
I want to watch that Harlan, the one that's got Michelle Keegan in it, everybody. We're watching that, aren't we, on Netflix? What's it called?
Oh, yes.
We're watching that with her.
Yes.
I don't want to watch Coronation Street. I want to watch that.
Our friend Rachel comes around on Mondays now, and that's why our Street Talk shorts on Mondays usually go up later. I wish she'd been around. I wish Corrie had been on Monday this week, because she could have seen that good one.
Yeah, but then we can Fool Me Once. That's what we're watching. I've got so many theories. We're on episode 4.
It's got 2 ex-Corrie people, hasn't it? 'Cause it's got Lummers in as well. It's got old Elaine Perkins.
Yeah. And also, I think the actress who plays...
the actress who plays Shelley's going to be in it as well, somebody said. Check it out.